The subconscious. The part of your mind that operates beyond conscious awareness. It's you, but also separate from you. A database of experiences, memories, and learned behaviors that operate automatically and without conscious thought. It plays a crucial role in shaping our behaviors, attitudes, and even our physical well-being. Many people believe that the subconscious is connected to nothing more than our minds. They're wrong. Jung's theory of uncollective unconscious puts it as shared inherited unconscious common to all humans, containing universal knowledge, primordial images, and ideas called archetypes, distinct from the personal unconscious. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but I've personally experienced what this shared unconscious could look like. I've had multiple shared dreams with people, an ability unlocked when you have high consciousness, but I'll speak on that later. Jung proposes how this idea that all humans inherit shared consciousness explains why similar themes and symbols appear in mythologies, religions, and art across different cultures. It's why many religions end up preaching the same thing. Love and compassion, the power of forgiveness, the pursuit of truth, righteousness and ethical living, the interconnection of all things, the existence of higher power or universal energy, the importance of inner peace and mindfulness, the illusion of ego and materialism, transcendence beyond this realm, and the free will to choose between good and evil, all promoting the satisfaction of the soul, the direction of the light, and the essence of God. It suggests that these spiritual and moral concepts aren't only human attempts to impose order in an indifferent universe. Instead, they're fundamental aspects of our very being, indoctrinated into the fabric of our consciousness, waiting to be realized once we elevate our consciousness. This all aligns with the theory, the argument of design. The concept that order and profound interconnectedness of existence points to an intentional design, rather than coincidence. We exist in a framework that promotes the satisfaction of our soul, and we're given vessels to do so through learning and growth, through elevating our consciousness to our higher consciousness, to our higher selves. What is higher consciousness? Higher consciousness arises from the detachment of the material world. There are obstacles in this world that limit our spiritual connection to the divine. Things like lust, long for power, materialism, addiction, ego. They have the power to diminish connection. These forces act as barriers, keeping us anchored to lower states of being, distorting our perception of truth and severing us from higher purpose. This is why the concept of detachment from ego, the rejection of worldly corruption, and the transcendence of base desires are so predominant in religious and philosophical traditions. Take things like the 7 deadly sins from Christianity, the teachings of non-attachment in Buddhism, the emphasis on self-purification in Islamic and Hindu spiritual practices. They all highlight the same fundamental truth. You must free yourself from these burdens to reach higher states of consciousness. Think of it as an array of clouds that hide the illuminating light of the sun. You have the power to clear these clouds by eradicating your worldly pleasures like lust, materialism, and ego. Through this, you can see the divinity of the light in full effect, and see how clearly we exist in a framework that promotes the way of God. It's a blueprint, an intricate design interwoven into the fabric of existence, guiding us towards righteousness, balance, and enlightenment. You need to stop viewing religion as a coping mechanism for human suffering, but rather as a guide designed to elevate the soul and awaken it to greater reality. A roadmap that sees past the illusions of the physical world, pointing towards enlightenment, self-realization, and divine connection. This is where many Eastern philosophies coincide with Jung's theory, where the subconscious is viewed as a vast, interconnected field of awareness, with wisdom and archetypal truths that transcends individual experience. In many Eastern philosophies, this elevated state is described as enlightenment, self-realization, and union with the divine. From my own experiences, I've been able to access this higher state of consciousness, to the point where I've heard divine voices speaking directly to me. Some may argue that this is simply my subconscious, but it's far more than that. It's the most elevated state of my subconscious, the voice of my higher self, the version of me that exists beyond the constraints of ego and earthly distractions, the purest connection to God, a guiding force offering wisdom and insight that surpasses me, an extension of universal consciousness that speaks to those who align themselves with it. I talk about my personal experiences with higher consciousness in my video about finding God through the astral plane, but since then I've had so much more. The most explicit time this occurred was when I was lucid dreaming. I couldn't get completely all he was saying, but from what I did, here it was. You keep referring to me as God. I am not God. Refer to me as me. I am a part of you. He then said that only highly intelligent people can interpret these messages, so there are different states of your subconscious that you can inherit. Extremely low consciousness can develop from things like substance abuse, addiction, and indulgence in destructive behaviors. These lower states of being create dissonance with the mind, distorting perception and severing your connection to higher wisdom. This is where mental illnesses such as schizophrenia and other disorders can emerge, when the mind is fractured, unable to properly filter or interpret information. It's also where urges can take control over you, like lust, greed, and wrath, which cloud judgment and override rational thought. In these states, you become a vessel for impulse rather than intention, losing the ability to act with clarity and purpose. When speaking to you, it will say things that distort the truth and enforce its fears, and your dreams will reflect it. And then there's the neutral state of subconscious. This is ground state, basically your waking awareness but intensified. It's where most people fall in the spectrum, accepting reality as presented. It can be upgraded to more advanced levels of awareness when you're more attuned with patterns and subtle relationships that control your life. If it were talking to you, it would probably tell you things that assure your waking perception of things. No universal or God knowledge separate from you. Only things you've witnessed in your waking mind that you could not comprehend. This is typically the state of consciousness that most atheists would inherit, and a lot of religious people that fail to interpret the core themes and principles of their scriptures, instead choosing to only adhere to the rules of said religion and not taking into account overarching themes of kindness and righteousness, sometimes unintentionally spreading more hate and discernment over an unrealized perception of their religion, and some idiots that throw off the entire concept of religion.
Donald Trump, please save me. Please save me, Donald Trump, please. I'm asking you. Please save me. Please save me. Please get these people away from me.
I'd actually put these people below the average atheist regarding levels of consciousness, simply because atheists usually inherit a more reflexive worldview. However, what limits atheists is their lack of reflexivity of their creation, choosing to exhibit finely tuned and meaningful aspects of their creation to cosmic randomness with no definitive meaning. This can lead them astray from purpose and meaning, often getting lost in nihilistic philosophy that ensures the meaningless of life. Your dreams will likely just be iconography from your waking moment, with no divine insight or knowledge. And then there's higher consciousness, the version of you that's more connected to God and the universe. This is why this state of consciousness is often referred to as God consciousness or Christ consciousness. It has knowledge of things that you wouldn't be able to know. It's an interconnected field of awareness that can mix with other people's consciousness, evident through shared dreams. Messages from this state of consciousness are based in truth, explicit, specific, cohesive, and consistent. From this, we can understand that consciousness exists on a spectrum where the higher one ascends, the more they align with divine wisdom, truth, and interconnected awareness. Let's talk about shared dreams and other symbolic dreams that you can get from higher consciousness. So I've talked about my shared dreams in these videos, but I've had a few more experiences. I was able to inherit a dream about my friend crying because she got rejected from a sorority house 2 days after she dreamt it. Again, more evidence to Carl Jung's theory. I barely dream about her, and on the few cases I have dreamt about her, it's been the exact same as hers. How interesting. One time, me and my other friend conducted an experiment when me and her would sleep in the same room and try and have a shared dream. That night she had her first shared dream, but not with me. It was with my flatmate. Their dream consisted of them walking in our accommodation together. They both record the same turn of events. But my dream that night did have resonance of higher consciousness. I was going to a job interview and all of a sudden this little kid keeps attacking me. I try to ignore it, but after a while he starts to piss me off, so I decide to start pelting this little prick in his face. After a while this little kid starts to overwhelm me and he starts punching me in the face until I eventually get this intense pressure. This kid starts speaking to me and I start hearing the divine voice again. He said things like, your prayer will come true only if you do certain things, that I should take back this ignorant prayer that I did and how I'm following in the footsteps of those gone astray. He said I need to open the doors to God. During this time I kept praying for things but not putting in the effort to achieve them, and this was my higher self trying to warn me of the implications of those actions. The fact that both my friends had their first shared dream that night, it makes me wonder if the heightened spiritual atmosphere we created by consciously attempting a shared dream triggered these experiences. And then there's the dream about that little kid attacking me. I was experiencing a highly symbolic message from my higher consciousness. This child was more than just a random figure. The dream made me reflect on how I've been asking for guidance and blessings without actively working towards them. It was my higher self stepping in and urging for me to take responsibility. There's so much clear design behind the subconscious. Yeah, this is all my subconscious, but it's an extremely advanced and interconnected level of subconscious. You need to stop viewing the subconscious as only an abyss, a byproduct of neutral activity shaped by personal experience, but instead as a structured system that has different levels of consciousness, needing clarity and control over the mind to interpret it properly, to interpret the full nature of this interconnected field, this field that has universal knowledge hidden at the peak. It will give you the power to interpret other people's consciousness through the astral plane, to have your souls connected through your dreams. I've experienced so much of this, and I'm going to make a video talking about every single experience of interconnected consciousness, but it makes me think, I probably have so much more of these experiences, except I could never really know. I mean, it's not like anyone's watched this far, like, I'll be real, I'm talking to myself. But if anyone actually has watched this far, then we must be kind of close on some level, right? maybe an astral level. Basically what I'm trying to say is, if you've ever seen me in your dream, then it probably was me.